Okay, video number 75. Use of caution. We're gonna discuss this on, I think, next Wednesday's class. Um, what is caution? Caution is writing and making sure you don't screw up. You don't say something so general or something so absolute that it is wrong and that it takes away from the truth. Or like creating such statement that twists that twists the truth. Sorry, I can't speak anymore. So, a cautious style is necessary in many areas of academic writing to avoid making statements that can be contradicted. Demand for healthcare usually exceeds supply. Most students find writing exams essays difficult. Fertility rates tend to fall as societies get richer. And why is this? Why are these sentences uh, cautious? Because it uses these markers usually, not always, but usually. Most students find writing exams difficult. Maybe from your class, maybe Salvador or I don't know, Jasmine find it easier, but most of the students do, okay? And fertility rates tend to fall as societies get richer. This might be the case for most of Europe, but I don't know. In Spain, people still have 2 or 3 children and not just one, okay? They tend to. That doesn't mean that it will always happen and all people in these countries will stop having babies. Um, but there is a tendency. Okay. Areas where caution is particularly important include outlining hypothesis that needs to be tested in an introduction. So you need to be careful if you haven't tested your hypothesis. Like you should be careful not to say, this is true, this is the case, and you really don't know. Discussing the results of a study which might not be conclusive. If you did some research and you see, for example, that the opinions of authors, like there's like 10 authors that say yes or that agree about something, and there is 10 that disagree, you might want to be careful about what you're saying, okay? Commenting on the work of other writers, be careful. Making predictions, which normally include may or might, okay? Caution is also needed to avoid making statements that are too simplistic. Crime is linked to poor education. Like, yes, there are studies that say so, but we all know for a fact that like poor education doesn't always cause criminals, and there are many rich kids that do very stupid stuff. Okay? Such statements are rarely completely true. You cannot be absolute about them. There is usually an exception that needs to be considered. Caution can be shown in several ways. For example, using modal verbs, crime might be linked, may, or here beautiful may, be linked to poor education. Using adverbs, crime is frequently linked to poor education, or a verb, crime tends to be linked to poor education. Okay? Okay. And another way to express caution is to use quite, rather, or fairly before an adjective. A fairly accurate summary, a rather inconvenient location, and a quite significant discovery. just a note here, quite is often used before the article, before a. It is generally used positively, while rather tends to be used negatively. Okay, we have two examples down here. The survey was a comprehensive study of student opinion. We can say that the survey was quite a comprehensive study of student opinion, because there might be some problems and some gaps, some areas that weren't covered, but we cannot possibly know that. But we don't want to say like yes or like 100% the study was comprehensive. So we're gonna use quite to be careful. We can use quite or a fairly comprehensive study of student opinion. The latest type of arthritis drug is expensive. Okay, the latest type of arthritis drug is rather expensive. Okay, that is how you use it. Look how it usually comes before the adjective, okay? Don't ever forget that, except for quite. Quite comes before the article. So that means this fairly, quite a comprehensive study. If I use fairly, it should be the survey was a fairly comprehensive study. Okay. So there you go. You have a short exercise about this. Don't hate me. Bye.